The current crop of performance cars nowadays are extremely fast. It's fair to say that there isn't a slow car anymore, which means there is a massive problem. The issue is that we have now gotten to the point where the end user is trapped in a cage, frustrated that they can't open up the taps and experience the sense of sheer driving pleasure, especially in a supercar. Well, that's what we're going to find out. Could you enjoy a supercar on the public road, and could this Maserati MC20 be the perfect candidate for it? If so, that might just mean that it could be one of the best supercars in the world. Let me explain to you my idea of what driving is all about. It's the means of taking you from A to B. It's the idea of not necessarily getting to that destination, but the journey. Going to places that you've never been before, understanding the sights, finding hidden gems of roads and finding the best scenery. And that's the bit I love and enjoy the most, which is why I've come to the Isle of Wight, because I've never been here before. And I want to see if there's any hidden driving roads. Yes, we've come to the sunniest place in the UK. Some might call the Brits' version of the French Riviera, apparently. The Isle of Wight, an island situated in the south of Hampshire just below Portsmouth and Southampton. It's the largest island in England with a population of 140,000 residents. It's also known for its nice beaches and stunning scenery, and it has the oldest theme park in the UK as well as the oldest pier. But that's not the reason why I came here. I'm here to visit the underrated driving roads in which should give this Italian stallion a thorough road test. Let's get the geeky details out of the way. This is Maserati's first supercar in a very long time, and given its track record over the last 10 years, which, if I'm honest, hasn't been very good, well, the brand has undergone a major overhaul, and this MC20, well, it means business. Strip its achingly beautiful body and you'll find out that this is not a parts bin special from Maserati's leftovers. It's actually an all-new car. The chassis is made from carbon fibre in collaboration with motorsport specialist Dallara. It has a clever suspension setup, a full multi-link system with adaptive dampers. The gearbox is an 8-speed twin clutch, and that's before we get on to the subject of its beating heart, the engine. Under this lightweight plexiglass engine base sits a 3-litre twin turbocharged V6. Yes, I know that doesn't sound particularly exciting, especially in a car like this, but it's very clever. It features twin spark plug technology derived from Formula One and is the first to be ever featured on a road car. And Maserati love to tell you that they made this engine themselves. I'm not sure I quite believe them, because after all, they are Italian. But this V6 produces 621 horsepower and 729 newton-meters of torque, or if you speak English, 538 pounds-feet. And it will do 60 in under 3 seconds, and it will go way on to 200 miles per hour plus. But it's more about the power delivery and the effectiveness this V6 has. There's a bit of turbo lag lower down in the rev range, but get it past 3,000 RPM and you get this angry power delivery, and rev it beyond that, which is nearly 8,000 RPM, and you get this really angry soundtrack. And no, it's never gonna sound like a naturally aspirated motor, but it's an engine that you grow quite fond of over time. In fact, now that I've been driving this for quite some time and I've done a couple hundred miles in it, I really like this motor. The throttle response, like I said, once you get it in the power range, it's sharp. Things are looking good so far for the MC20. Its engine is buzzy and frantic at the top end, its gearbox is razor sharp, and it has bedroom wall poster looks. In fact, let's talk about that because, in my opinion, this is a work of art. I haven't been this excited about a supercar since the Ferrari 458 Italia, and that is high praise. I love its open face front grille. I love those headlights that give it styling cues and nods to the MC12 hypercar. It's got hips, it's got curves. It's such a pretty design. Climb aboard the MC20 and you're first greeted by these swan doors, which are very supercar-y, and it's proper poser, isn't it? But it works with this sort of car. The interior is full of Alcantara and a leather, but ergonomically it's well thought out. It's not Italian and stupid. For instance, there's a place to put your iPhone that charges wirelessly. There's also a place to put your key. The ergonomics of the steering wheel, the buttons, they're all easy to hand, but it's not fully cluttered like a Ferrari. On a Ferrari 296, you have everything for the windscreen wipers. With this, we still have them on the stalks, but the necessities are right there. For instance, the start-stop button's right here, the launch control button's right here, and it's easy to operate. You select drive or manual right here. There's wireless Apple CarPlay, and the quality and fit and finish is second to none. And there's another cool feature that I really like. Right here we have the interior mirror, and as you can see, you can't see anything at all. But if I flip this up, you have a 4K rear view camera, and you can adjust it, and it genuinely works. It's not an afterthought, and it hardly ever gets dirty. So inside the MC20, it's not bamboozled with high-tech fest, but it does the job, and it's way better than other Maseratis in the past. But now let's get on to the big subject of cornering. Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush because this MC20 devours corners in a way that is totally unexpected. This MC20 just absorbs everything and takes it all in its stride. The shell is obviously carbon fibre, but because it's so stiff, I think they've been able to give it quite supple suspension, and you can dial it up to its stiffest mode for when you want to do track driving. If you dial the switch to sport, you get a different display on your speedometer. That makes everything gradually sporty. So the gearbox is slightly faster, so is the throttle response, so is the steering. That starts to weight up a little bit. Then you've got Corsa. Now we've got a different dial and a different setting, and you can probably notice now that the suspension is quite stiff. It's in its stiffest mode, but there is a better mode. What you do is you leave the powertrain in its most aggressive, Corsa. Then you slide this LCD display, and then you've got a damper mode, and it says hard. You knock that up and it goes to mid. So now I've got the most aggressive powertrain mode and the softest dampers. And then I knock it into manual and I've got full control. And this is where the MC20 unbelievably shines. The weighting, for starters, the steering, it's typical Italian, it's very quick off centre, but unlike a Ferrari where it's super sensitive, this has got quite decent feedback. In fact, very good feedback. I know what the front wheels are doing. The seating position, you've got infinite adjustment depending on what height and what size you are. And more importantly, visibility in a car like this, which is at times a little bit too wide, but on a road like this, I can fling it about and chuck it around as if I'm in a Porsche Cayman. I can't give it any more higher praise than that. Not many cars can do this. That feeling of you just rotating in and around the corner in the wet or in the dry is just lovely. It's an engaging tactile thing. And I'm saying that, and it doesn't even have a manual gearbox. For a car that has true GT touring credentials, the MC20 has a pathetic 60-litre fuel tank, which for long distances means that you'll be stopping at petrol stations more often than you'd like. And those swan doors do look nice and tick the poser supercar image, but you need quite a bit of space to open them fully, which when you park it in your average bay over here, then you'll be stuck, or be struggling to get in and out. It has two boots, which sounds great, but the front one has barely any space for a chocolate bar, and the rear does have enough storage for a weekend getaway. And then we get on to this car's biggest problem. The price. The MC20 starts at £220,000, which sounds sort of about right for a supercar, but that's before you tick some of the options list in which you want. For instance, on this particular test car it has the carbon fibre exterior pack, which gives you carbon fibre front splitter as well as a rear diffuser and bumper. Oh, and you get carbon fibre door and wing sills. That alone is £36,000, and I don't know about you, but I think that's very cheeky considering that package doesn't include the interior carbon fibre or the engine bay. You'll have to pay an additional £12,000 on top, which means that this particular car has £83,000 in extras, which brings it up to a total of £310,000. This means the MC20 has to walk right into the firing line up against the Ferrari 296 GTB and McLaren Artura, both of which are a lot faster than this. Can't believe I'm saying this, but has better residual value because this MC20 unfortunately still has the stigma of Maserati depreciation. I was looking on Auto Trader and other used car websites, and you could pick up a couple of £1,000-mile MC20 with the same options as this car, so £310,000, and it's depreciated by half. We're talking £150,000, £160,000. Well, just go buy an 18-month-year-old one if you're really that bothered, because genuinely, I don't care. I don't care the fact that those cars are a lot faster. I don't care the fact that they're easier to sell come resale time. I'm not bothered about it because this MC20 seems to tick all of the boxes. In terms of a manufacturing comeback, this will go down in the history books as the biggest comeback of them all. The Maserati MC20. So, to finally answer that question, yes, you can enjoy a supercar on the public road, but only if you're in an MC20.